Okay, we started with recording. Okay, Brale, Ratko, you can start.
Raleigh.
Thank you. Hi guys. So we're working on order bot for Uniswap version 3, and we're going to show you some interesting stuff that we made. Next slide, please. Yeah, starting from our crew. In the left corner, Philip Pait, the man behind this idea. You can give a round of applause for him. Next, Milos, which hangs out with the judges, so we count on the support, and myself, which added these lovely colors to this presentation. Next slide, please. Yeah, so a bit of intro. With Uniswap version 3 comes a new type of transactions called range orders, which basically allows users to set a sort of a limit order and earn fees until the order is executed completely. Let's say that you have Celsius and you want to exchange it for DAI, and basically you say, okay, I want to exchange it in a range between 8 and 9 DAI. You enter the pool with 100% Celsius, and you have 0% of DAI. And as the price moves from 8 to 9 DAI, so does the percentage of tokens that you have changes. And when the price reaches 9 DAI, you'll have 100% DAI in the pool and 0% Celsius. So then the order is considered executed, and the user can make a withdrawal. Next slide. As a target group, we weren't going for liquidity providers that deposit funds to earn fees as a backbone of Uniswap. We wanted to develop a solution for users that want to make basically limit orders on the centralized exchanges, meaning to make a swap at the price of their choice. It's important to mention that this was not possible on version 2 because swaps could only happen in real time, meaning at the current price for the pair.
Yeah, hi everyone. So thank you, Ratko. Leaning against what Ratko just explained, our initial idea was to develop an order book UI on top of this range order feature that Uniswap just introduced in the version 3. So after some research, we actually saw a lot of occurrences of range swaps on their high potential, and it just seems that Uniswap itself has seen that it has a lot of value, and we have a lot of reasons to believe that what we initially thought to develop was actually what they are developing in their own UI, which is going to be released on May 5th, if I'm not mistaken. So Milos, could you please, next slide. So what's the actual problem on the range order feature that they introduced? So looking back at the example that Ratko said has given us, so let's say we create an range order to buy to sell when it reaches the price of 9 DAI, and we miss that point in time, and sell falls down back to 7 DAI. So we just missed the user missed the opportunity to sell their sell, and who knows when it's going when the opportunity is going to come back. So that means that the user, to actually be successful trader here, he needs to constantly keep an eye on the market, what's happening, and to set orders and to be sure that it's gonna get mined in time. So next slide, please. So our risk assumption is that because of Uniswap's philosophy to actually keep everything decentralized and to keep all the assets on the side of the users, they won't actually be making any contract or bot that's going to manage users' assets and automatically trigger the withdrawal of DAI. Next slide, please. So our solution is actually developing a platform where which is going to manage this for user, where the user simply says, this pool, I want to sell this amount of cell when it reaches this amount of the pair token of DAI, for example. And when it happens, it's automatically triggered, and the user didn't have to think about it at all. He can stay lazy as he was in Uniswap V2. Next slide.
Okay, thank you, Philip. So how potential UI may look on our Uniswap version 3 order bot. User can come to this platform. We can later on talk whether this is platform or not. But user can create new order or add existing one. If he wants to create a new order, he can choose the pool he wants to place an order for. There should be some predefined pool, but also your user should be able to add custom pool by entering the pool's contract address. Once he decides, for example, to go with sell DAI pool and he wants to sell tokens, he can define the amount of tokens, for example 10 tokens he wants to sell for the price of 9 DAI tokens, and he can place the order. As Philip said, once price reaches 9 DAIs, our bot will execute that transaction, and our bot will actually do the withdrawal to user's wallet address. While working on this solution, we have been thinking about the business model, how we can make sure that our income is bigger than the expenses that we had. So before that, we was thinking about how this solution will look under the hood. So it will be some set of smart contracts for managing assets, and that execution will be done using the Chainlink's Keeper bot. Expenses that we will have are the first expense is the expense of doing the withdrawal, and that's the fee that we have to pay for that transaction. The other expense is the one that is related to the Chainlink's Keeper bot and the fact that we have to pay some link tokens to Chainlink to utilize this feature. The incomes that should be bigger than our expenses are primarily the fee that user gets from the Uniswap for providing the liquidity for that short period of time, so we can take that fee for ourselves, and also we can take some percentage of users' transactions. So we are enabling user-friendly UI, we are enabling user not to think about executing the transaction, but we take some fee. We can do some kind of the trial period once the Uniswap V3 is launched, and if we somehow realize that our incomes are not larger than our expenses, we can say that this tool, this feature is only sustainable on the layer 2 solutions, and Uniswap V3 want to be released and deployed as well on the layer 2 solution. Also, we have one bonus feature. We do not want to require from user to come to our platform and make and limit order only on our platform. We also support the user who did the initial order on the Uniswap V3 platform. So how the flow will look? User will go to the Uniswap V3 order book UI. He will set the limit order. He will receive an NFT that represents the proof that he is the owner of that order and that he can always withdraw the assets. And after that, he can come to our platform. He can lock that NFT that he got, and our bot will make sure that the automatic withdrawal is done when the price is reached. So how it can look, it can be other part of our UI. User can choose to add existing order. He has to choose the pool, and he has to add the NFT that he received from the Uniswap. Once he do that, new order will be set, and our bot will keep watching on it. So that will be everything for us. And yeah, it's time for the questions. And thank you, Ratko and Filip, once again.
Who wants to start with questions?
You.
Me. Okay. Question from my side. Do you have some breakdown of the cost for the end user and how this will influence the gas beside the link tokens that you need? So how the total cost of the order would look like?
Well, we know what are the costs. The exact amount of fee that user has to pay will depend on the Ethereum network at that point of time. But what is important that we know the cost. Once again, the user has to pay for the initial gas for setting the order. He has to do that on Uniswap as well, either on Uniswap or our solution. And user has to give some fee for us in compensation for our bot executing their transaction. So from the user side, we will take some fee from the transaction, and he will have to pay initial fee when he sets the order limit.
I understand that, but I was wondering if you have some comparison with alternative solutions, and how that will actually look like in practice.
Well, in practice, we currently do not have alternative solutions, as it's still not on the production.
More of you can place a limit order more or less on any exchange. You couldn't do that on Uniswap. The question is, will you, if you place the order on Uniswap, earn some kind of more money because of the fees you get in the meantime? So this is the question. Will you basically, but this is more of a question for the Uniswap feature. The risk assumption here is that Uniswap will attract people depositing in this, like placing range orders. I think they are calling it like that. And if that exists, then some secondary service like this probably needs to exist. The more difficult question, I think, is maybe Uniswap will develop something like this.
Yeah, there is a possibility that Uniswap will create some kind of the bot, but we believe, as Philip said, that their philosophy of decentralization does not allow them to handle users' assets or private key. In our case, user will have to delegate the right to us, to our smart contract, to forward them the assets.
Yeah, so that's one of our risk assumptions.
Exactly.
What's how would I say, the hardest part for you to actually build this? If you said there is a reason why we failed to actually even build a product, what would it be?
Well, I may I answer first. It's a bit unpredictable. how the Uniswap V3 will look, because we do not still have the set of smart contracts, and we're not sure how that act of setting limit order will look, because we rely on Uniswap to allow us to set a limit order around, for example, 9 DAI tokens in this case, and create a range plus minus 0.02%. So in that range, transaction will be executed. We're not sure how that will look. Philip, you maybe can add something from the technical perspective here.
I mean, I'd also add, I think that one of the hardest things here is how cost efficient this will be on layer 1, or if that will be better on to build this solution on layer 2, and how that will look like. I'm not sure if we answered your questions.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, okay.
So to recap, this is like you place your NFT and we liquidate your NFT at some point in time.
Well, yeah. That's one of the possibilities. We can also actually add liquidity for you. I mean, we send from you to this other contract, and the NFT that's minted is on the let's call it on the contract that we made. This contract is actually the one who's the owner of liquidity, and it's the one which will actually trigger the withdrawal. The user will then later come to this contract and be able to withdraw his liquidity. Just to add to Ivan's question, so there's also a question of Ethereum layer 1. How is it called? Cognition in English. If it's too slow to actually make the order, if it's not mined in time, then our tool actually missed its point. Congestion, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you guys. If there is no more questions, we will to the second team.
Yeah, I wanted to add something while listening to them. I was thinking maybe it would be tricky for that solution if the price go, for example, above or below the range, but only a bit, and then you trigger the transaction or the
withdrawal
happen, yeah. And then if the price come back to into the range, it could happen that you will not get only one asset because you need some time for the block to be mined, things like that. So you will not provide the user what he expected, 100% of one token. So yeah.
Yes, you're right, definitely. That's why we said we rely on Uniswap that will allow that 0.02% in difference, and it will allow us to create so small range that it can be, you know, so small that it's gonna hardly allow that to happen.
And yeah, that problem becomes a bit harder if we also take the Ethereum congestion in our calculation. So that's one of the risk assumptions. If this can work on layer 1, or if it's mandatory to be on L2.
Okay, thanks.
And now I'm a little bit confused. It's unrelated to this idea. If I deposit just one coin or token to the Uniswap version 3, do I get fees?
You cannot deposit one coin
I think you can
You
deposit
can
only one
as
token.
order limit, yeah.
You can. You would get fees once the price moves to your position, but you cannot deposit one single token in the current price, so to speak.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
wish to target
Exactly.
for your range to actually fall within the current price, you need to deposit 2 tokens still.
You in the future you need.
Yes, yes. I mean, in version 3.
No, in the future you can deposit 1 token just if you are depositing for the price it currently does not exist.
Exactly.
Have.
Yes, yes.
So it doesn't collect the fees, but it will collect the fees at that point of time.
Yes, once the price moves, because you can specify the range, not only one price, but when you deposit, they call it range order. You deposit 2 ranges, and between those 2 ranges, it will collect the fees until it is out of those range, and you get the, how to say, the order executed.
Basically, you can deposit like a wide range with just 1 token.
Yes.
But the price inside that range, yeah, the current price.
Yes, and I mean, I'm not 100% sure how it exactly works because I didn't understand the code yet. But the thing that they envision is, for instance, if you wish to trade 1 token against another, and you sort of don't wish to trade, how to say it, you wish to trade along the curve. That's how they say it. At least that's how I read it. So basically you would say, okay, I'm fine with this price range to trade against it. Like if, I don't know, slippage hit you or something like that on a different exchange, and you will cover all the, how to say it, if the price moves between those ranges, you collect the fees, and as soon as it is out, you are again in another token, in the one that you wish to trade, and at that point in time you need to make a withdrawal if you want to exit your position. But if you leave it as it is, you become a liquidity provider. So
okay, so basically it's all virtually everything virtually happens, so until you basically withdraw.
Exactly. So in my opinion, the liquidity provider and swapper are actually, if we look at the limit orders or range orders, are actually the same role. The only difference is one withdraws and other doesn't.
Yeah, this is like let's call it in 2 different ways. So the same functionality, we can just rebrand it as range orders.
Exactly. Probably someone of them figured out, like, well, while they were building it, look, this looks exactly like the range or the limit order if I withdraw at this point. So
okay.
Just to add on that, the new thing on limit orders here is that it also collects fees. So, you know, if your range was big enough, you can also collect fees until you withdraw your assets.
Because you are basically a liquidity provider just for 1 token.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the same feature. So you just basically withdraw at some point. Okay, understood. Thanks. So we can move to the second team. Who wants to be second? Ivor, Shimon.
Sure.
Okay, Ivor.
So just to share the screen. Yeah, in this way, we still have hope that that we are not the only one without the presentation. So Shimon, please don't disappoint us. So yeah, let's start again with the explanation what the whole idea is, because we have now the judges. So we wanted to create LP tokens migrator. So it's a combination of migrator and aggregator. So migrator. What is the idea? Because a large amount of liquidity need to move from V2 pools, Uniswap V2 to Uniswap V3 pools. And we find out that a lot of people and users are pretty concerned how the process would look like. So we wanted to create a one-stop shop, we can call it like that, one place where you can choose, because right now, okay, let me continue. So where you can choose where your liquidity tokens from V2 are deposited right now, then withdraw those tokens, use the Uniswap V3 migrator, change those ERC20 LP tokens to NFT LP tokens. Then when you get those tokens, again, move them back to the protocol where you can deposit those NFTs and earn yield on them. The thing is that you also can add options such as if you, for example, choose to take the LP tokens from Aave, you can, for example, deposit them in the end in some other protocol such as Visor or some other protocol that will enable you earning yield farming on those tokens. So that was the initial idea and the initial user flow. At the beginning,
May I
yeah,
jump in just to try to provide a little bit context, unless everyone understood perfectly? Currently, if you are a liquidity provider on Uniswap version 2 and you want to move your liquidity to version 3, which is what they guess that most users will do, you would need to withdraw your liquidity and get back the regular assets, and then go to version 3 and put them back in, and then you have your liquidity as an NFT. So Uniswap team thought about this, and they said, well, okay, this is a costly operation. Let us allow them to do this, how to say it, to be more gas efficient while doing this. So they implemented a migrator contract that allows you to input Uniswap version 2 liquidity pool tokens and get an NFT token that covers the same position. I mean, not the same. You can also supply the range that you wish to cover, and they give you Uniswap version 3 NFT token that represents your liquidity on version 3. So our whole idea was that we take it a step further, where we say, well, okay, but some of these liquidity pool tokens for version 2 are locked in some other protocols on DeFi, such as Aave probably, and they are represented through Aave tokens now, and migrator contract cannot accept them as they are. So our idea was to have sort of a tool that can translate your Aave tokens that represent the liquidity pool version 2 tokens to Aave tokens that represent liquidity pool version 3 tokens, so NFTs on Uniswap version 3. So that was, I mean, the layer above what Uniswap is doing with the migrator contract.
I didn't go, a long way around how does that process work with the Uniswap version 3. So a quick question. Is this something you would expect people to use once to migrate from version 2 to version 3, or is this something that would be long-term useful also?
Well, as we were thinking, we would expect it to be used once, but it depends on how long will Uniswap version 2 continue to provide significant liquidity, at least. So if everyone moves from Uniswap version 2 to version 3, as they did from version 1, then I guess it's only one way, so limited time, so to speak. Okay, sorry.
So nobody knows Uniswap version 2 because it's decentralized. People or liquidity can stay there and be used for some time, and nobody knows will it stay for 2 days or 2 years. And that is the whole question. Maybe there will be some kind of new potential products that will do some kind of migration between those on a permanent basis. So this would be one.
As we were researching this, I was thinking about it, and well, unless I mean, I wanted to say until the proper UI solutions for users to easily put in their liquidity on the Uniswap version 3 are out. I guess that most regular Joe users will probably use version 2, or they will maybe convert to version 3, but on a, how to say, on a huge range of the pool. Because if you narrow the range in the pool where you deposit assets on version 3, impermanent loss can hit you pretty hard, since if price moves outside of this asset, you will end up in only one token. So you won't hold both tokens anymore. And this is something that in Uniswap version 2 can only happen if one token probably collapses or something like that completely. So you really, what I wanted to say is on version 3, you really need to know what you're doing when you're depositing liquidity, while on version 2, it was more of a straightforward. I mean, you only needed to know to provide 2 tokens, and it was helpful to know what impermanent loss is, but you wouldn't expect, you wouldn't encounter such harsh reality so soon if the price moves outside of your range.
One thing to add, nobody knows how many people have deposited on some famous pairs their liquidity and never withdrew their funds. Based on the self-swap, which is a small fork of Uniswap, there are users who don't want to withdraw from the LP pools because of the high fees on Ethereum. So they are like, okay, I'm now okay with this being there because I don't want to spend money on withdrawing it from the pools. So if there is no, I'm not aware of some kind of research of that says I don't know, 10% of the tokens in all liquidity pools are there for zillion hours, you know, they were never been moved. They maybe don't even have LP tokens, you know, like don't have it in the wallet.
Probably some are lost, yes.
Yeah, it's a similar
so,
case. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so sorry, that is also part of this optimization of withdrawing from the version 2 to the version 3.
Yeah, I wanted to say it's a similar case such as Uniswap V1, which is even now still working, and there is still liquidity there. So, and it was much smaller in the amount of tokens and swaps and volume from V2. So everybody expects that V2 will continue to exist surely for a longer time. But yeah, the main part of this tool would be used in the next couple of months or year or something like that. But yeah, I will continue. So after some research, so first of all, we wanted to answer some of those questions. And the first one was how many protocols enable Uniswap V2 token deposits and yield farming. And those of you who were here in the morning, I wrote a couple of protocols because I find out in the news that they are mentioning those options, but it figured out that only Aave right now enable deposit of Uni LP V2 tokens, and there is not much of them, and also the amount of that liquidity is not large. So
Ivor, just I have to ask, are you sure that Cream doesn't allow this?
We tried to find, yeah, we look at Curve and some other protocols. Yeah,
Cream.
we didn't look at Cream.
Cream.
MTA is another project.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it, Daniel.
MStable is another protocol that where you can do this.
Okay, so thank you. So the idea from there, we also find out that there is no place where you can check out the all stats of the whole market of LP deposits, where we can find out how much which percent of those tokens are sitting in some smart contracts of protocols and earn yield. So from there we get out with the conclusion that the amount of those tokens is small. So yeah, that's the second questions. Then we try to figure out, will this tool provide a smaller gas costs to people? Because, for example, you can batch together a number of users and move their liquidity together. But because of the range that of the NFTs that are custom for any user, it wouldn't help. So we find out that it will approximately decrease the cost for 30% because you because you deposit two tokens together, because when you take LP tokens from V2, that's a pair of tokens, for example ETH and I, and you deposit them together. And if someone do it by step with his MetaMask account, it will deposit those tokens in 2 steps. So that could be some kind of cost of gas decrease costs. And at the end, we also try to find out where you can put your V2 LP tokens as a collateral for a loan. And we again find out it's only Aave. Yeah, maybe we are, yeah, this one we asked also on their Discord and get this.
Cream has it. Cream has it.
Yeah.
Because Aave doesn't have it, or at least on their front end, you cannot see what sort of how to say it, the interest that you will need to pay or anything like that. It's only like some amount deposited and that's it. Like they almost don't accept it. We thought that maybe they gave up on it since version 3 is coming out soon.
Yeah, but that's strange because Milos wrote to Uniswap Discord and they say only Aave. So yeah, maybe it's something new that they added Cream, so that the guy didn't know it. But okay, it doesn't matter. So those all answering those questions bring us to the conclusion that the volume of those tokens that are sitting on some smart contracts, if you look at the number of platforms and the token pairs that are trading for the token pairs that are enabled, that this option is enabled for, so it's not a large amount of liquidity. So we could say we decided this is not a good solution, and we decided to try and figure out some different ideas. And after that, yeah, we also added, maybe we were also thinking about additional feature of flash loans, where you, for example, can close your collateral position by taking a flash loan, then again transforming those tokens to NFT and again opening the loan. But it also getting together with this part that there is no enough volume of those tokens. Some of the different ideas that we were also thinking about, the first one is to handle the problem of the people that are staying in the V2 pools because they're left with a small amount of liquidity. So some swaps could change a bit for a large rate the price of those tokens in the pool. But still we wasn't sure if arbitrage could handle that. So arbitrage that will set the prices between V2 and V3 to be the same. And something that could go with the project of Milos and his team, the order book. So we also find out that when your tokens, when all of your tokens move to one, in a token pair move to one side, and the price go up above the range, you cannot buy more token. Then you can only sell. So the idea is you cannot set how they call it on SEX, they call it stop loss. So when you say, okay, on some price, if that price is achieved, I want to buy or sell more tokens. That could be something that could be done through keepers in a decentralized way, and it's could be an additional feature to an order book on top of V3. And yeah, that's it. This is one question that we also asked on Telegram, on Discord, and didn't get an answer for. And we were wondering what is the answer for it. So it's yeah, I can read it quickly. So if you want to deposit liquidity in a pool with a range of 1900 and 2100 rate, and the current price is exactly in the center, do I have to deposit those tokens in a 50-50 ratio? Yeah, so we are waiting for an answer. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah, I don't know if the other guys have something to add. Yeah.
Basically, we sort of validated the idea that thinking that there are no, how to say it, that there is no substantial liquidity there for the protocol token, for the protocols that utilize the liquidity pool tokens from Uniswap. We didn't find it on Aave, but now looking at Cream, there are some. Still, I'm not sure that all of this, the issue is that you cannot tell them, okay, let's transfer from Aave version 2. I mean, from Aave that supports Uniswap tokens for version 2 to Aave that supports Uniswap token to version 3, since Aave doesn't support that yet. You can only tell them, okay, let's transfer to something else. But what that else is and how many of them would actually be interested to just deposit to something completely different than to just withdraw their tokens and put them on as liquidity providers on the version 3 is questionable. For us, we didn't think it was worth it to build something like this, at least at this point. The last question that we had, that was the open question, is basically we were wondering if someone else understood it. So if you want to sort of provide the liquidity around the range, well, the easiest question is as it sounds. So if you want to provide exactly the range where both sides are where the distance of both sides is exactly the same from the current price, do you need to deposit the tokens in a 50-50% ratio? So if you change the range, you would need to change the ratio of the tokens you deposit. You cannot say, okay, I give you one DAI and 100 ethers and give me a range of 1900 to 2100. That's the way we thought it cannot work, but I'm not 100% sure since Uniswap version 3 is not yet live, and on smart contracts we couldn't conclude if that is so.
I'm not sure that it's like that, because in the use cases they were trying to explain, they were using as a use cases. They said, for example, the price of Ether is $2,000, and you set the range from 1,000 to 2,500. And in that use case, you had to deposit 50-50. So the price wasn't in the middle of the range. However, they said you have to deposit 50-50.
Okay,
So from that use case, I will,
So maybe it's if it even touches the range, the current price, your range
then you're
touches the
fine.
current price, then you need to deposit 50-50, because in my mind it was sort of a bit different, but we will see, I guess, when.
So if that's correct, so if you withdraw that NFT in a second after that, you will get a pretty different ratio of those tokens.
Yeah, that was our question basically, but no one answered.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I wanted to sing you a song. Now, if you take a look at the NFT on the contract, you will see that there is a ticker up, ticker lower. What's the name? Tick lower, tick upper. Basically, though, this is the range, and there is something called liquidity. And liquidity is basically, when you read the white paper, it's a multiplication of x time epsilon. So I think that is the key part to understand. what does the liquidity inside of the periphery smart contract NFT mean? Liquidity itself is like square of the x times epsilon. So
Yeah,
so
some
I
guy.
just wanted to share. This is, I think, the lead for the understanding of that.
Well, now someone answered on Discord as I checked, and well, they basically say that depending on the range that you pick, you need to deposit a certain percentage of each asset. So here, if you
This is
chose,
precisely it.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is
So
precisely
you
it.
cannot
X times
choose.
epsilon squared.
Yeah. So it limits you. So you can. I guess the UX will more be okay. The amount of assets you want to deposit, and then they say, okay, this is the range that you're entitled to. So you can change some of that, but you cannot customize everything and expect it to work.
I'm more and more like thinking that this will not have UX, UI. Like this will be bots.
Well, possible.
Doing stuff.
So what you would go to Yearn and say, okay, let's go with your strategy.
So yeah. Just to confirm, I also read now what the answer of from Discord. So as I understand it, what Milos said, the example is not correct. So you not be able to deposit 50-50 ratio if the price range is what he said for in the example 100 and 250. But yeah, maybe they were considering a price of 175. 1,750, yeah. Okay.
Okay, guys, thank you. If there are no more questions, we can go to the last but not least. Shimon, you can take the lead.
Thank you, Malisha. Hi, guys. Welcome. Last but not least, we leave the best for the end. So let me share the screen. We do not, so we had a beautiful presentation, but then Ivor said they don't want to be the only ones without, so I deleted it, and we are just going to go off this sheet. No problem. So Uniswap V3 calculator. Now, and I think one good thing is that our three projects are kind of compatible. You know, I could almost imagine one platform that has all these different, offers all these different functionalities, and it can be combined. So we occupied ourselves thinking about this bit when you are migrating. So you are an LP, or you want to be an LP. You're somebody who has some tokens and you want to put them to Uniswap V3. So how do you decide where to put them? Now, this wasn't obviously a problem in V2, but it's a big problem in V3 for all the different reasons that we just discussed. So how do you decide? So there is, when people build trading strategies on all sorts of things, you know, the stocks, Forex, bonds, there is this time-honored tradition of doing backtesting, right? So what is backtesting? Well, backtesting is you create your strategy and then you apply it to historical data, and you see how your strategy would work with historical data. This is a good thing because it's much easier to use the actual historical data. Of course, it doesn't predict the future. The future is not going to be exactly like that, but it's much more accurate, much better to test with historical data than it is to completely invent data, you know, say, like imagine what the trades are going to be. So what we set out to do is take the historical trades that happened on Uniswap V2, and they are available on this Uniswap info platform. So you see them here. There are all the swaps here. You can get them on the blockchain, and you can also get them through some APIs. And we have a working product there. Andrei is going to present that in a minute. So our idea was to take these trades and then allow you to build a user interface that will allow you to set the parameters of your new position. and then run all these trades against it. You would put the parameters of your position, and you would choose the time range in history, and we would run all these trades, and we would tell you how much you would earn in this if you chose this strategy. And this strategy would be, you know, configurable. So you test it, you click calculate, you change it, and then it gives you an intuitive feel of what is going on. So Daniel built a user interface. He's going to present it. And I just want to talk shortly about the challenges here. So here, an important insight is that people who trade, they don't care if they're trading against Uniswap V3 or anything. So the trades are they're not variable. Here we have the trades that are going to happen are fixed. So what can change? What are the variables? Well, your preferences, you know, your choice of the range and the fees and things like that. And an important other aspect that is a variable in this system is what are other people going to do? And this is like game theory, you know, what are you going to do if I know that you know that what I'm going to, you know that what you are thinking. So this is not easy to model. So we went with some assumptions. So we are going to give you complete freedom to choose your own parameters, but then we are going to give you like some settings that you choose how other people are going to behave. So with that being said, I give the mic to Daniel, who is going to present the UI, and after that, Andre is going to present how we built the data stream with historical calculations. Daniel, go ahead.
Okay, hope you can see my screen. Cool. So this is the interface, and in this example, we have a version 2 LP token in our wallet. So that's the flow I'm going to show, but obviously this could be done without having LP tokens, rather having regular tokens and start and calculate a position based on that, or even not having tokens, just doing the calculations ad hoc. But this flow shows you the situation where you already have an LP position in V2 and an LP token in your wallet. So the first thing is to connect the wallet, and we select this LP token. So it's 17.54 AV Aave ETH LP tokens. So we select that and we see, okay, that is currently containing this much Aave and this much ETH, and it's valued at this price. And the pair ratio is 5.61. And now we have the initial choice, basically three choices on where to supply. And this is really trying to be both very advanced, but also, okay, what is just, what would I get if I just do something simple? So the first one is set it and forget it. And it would basically try to be in price range all the time for the time duration. What would happen then? So it's a clear optimization from V2 because it's not infinity to zero. So it's just the price that actually happened. And then we have the regular lazy liquidity, which is current market price plus minus 25. So that's sort of a most likely a bit narrower. And then we have the B specific, which is basically you tell us the ranges. So we start out with B specific. In this case, I say, okay, the ratio, the current ratio is 5.61. So let's just say I go with 5 to 7.5. And of course, there's sliders and everything like that. So you can easily set this. And you say, okay, what's the backtesting time frame? Oh, jumps. I set it for 3 months from 3rd of June to 3rd of September. And I get a graph with the price the black line here, and my liquidity. So this is my range now. Okay, I can see I was out of price here. I was out of price for a lot of time over here. Let's just see what regular lazy would do with the same. Okay, I will get some more here. And obviously set it and forget it is okay. I'm making sure I'm inside on all of the time. And you could obviously change this this range to fit all sorts, and you could pick a different time range and then fit it to that time range and do a lot of back testing that way. Then we have the sort of what Shimon just said, which is sort of assumptions of what other LPs will do. And one is just normal distribution. So people will distribute around the current market price. So that's just one assumption. The other assumption is concentrated around market price, meaning that many more will be trying to be very narrow. Try to predict the price very specific, or just a round top. Okay, I'm trying to capture all. I'm fine with 50 or even 60% both ways, or something like that. And then we have the fee tier. For this, I think most of the where this is useful is probably in the regular tier, 0.3%. And then we do a calculation. And since we have the earnings in V2, this is all based on V2 actual data. We can actually see what the earnings were on V2, and we can compare that to our optimized strategy for V3. And this is, I mean, this is very done the last 10 minutes of the time here, but I think you can get the point. So the idea here is to sort of give you some hints on where you could optimize. So you can see just regular optimization, the way we set it, it's a small optimization. You could see a time where you were, when you were out of the price, and also some tips on, okay, you could have earned this much more based on this and this. And obviously you could do this incredibly sophisticated if that was valuable. And I think a tool like this, it's difficult to know beforehand if it's actually valuable, because you could actually say that maybe if I'm an LP provider or a liquidity provider, I want to hold both of them. I don't want to end up with only one of the tokens. That's never my goal with being a liquidity provider. So maybe the optimization for this tool would be rather, okay, let's just make sure that I'm in position most of the time and that I don't end up with only one token, because I'm actually not here to trade between one to the other. Yeah, I will leave over to Andre.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just going to share my screen. So we have a simple demo of this, but obviously for Uniswap version 2 data, because version 3 isn't live yet, so we don't have the actual data to manipulate with them. But here are the formulas, what Shimon was talked, and as he said, there's on this Uniswap info, there is that data, but they don't do these calculations. So we took them. They have this liquidity position snapshots on their subgraph. So this is a free endpoint. Just you need to write proper GraphQL queries, which we have done. And this is a simple part of Daniel's design. So yeah, this is just for Aave ETH pair. We fix that with the but of course we can do it for any other pair. Just need to input the parameter, but for hackathon purposes, that's fine. So one need to input Aave amount. Let's say I enter with 10 Aave, and it was 2 days ago, and at 8th of April, pardon, I will do now a calculation. So I will earn this much amount of Aave and this amount of Ether if I placed this amount 2 days ago for now. So this is a simple calculator. This is the formulas, and as I said, we have this data from Uniswap official Uniswap V2 subgraph. So if my opinion is that if we come up with the right formulas for the version 3, once they deploy contracts and put it live on mainnet and have the actual data to manipulate with them, we can easily build this kind of tool, because this is just a front end. We all have this. We can read all the data from the blockchain. So this is
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Just over here, what confuses me is that you have only one input for Aave amount. Don't you need to supply the Ether as well?
We calculate in the background.
So okay,
what's the amount of Ether in order to have proper calculations.
So this is from June until
no,
August.
This is from 6th April to 8th of April.
For
Is
depositing...
this 2020 or 2021, Andrei? It can be, yes. So this can be actually 2021, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2021.
Yeah.
But still, it seems like a super earning on 10 Aave. There must be something.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, we are converting to pay. Maybe we are 1 decimal point off or something like that.
Probably I will check for that.
I wanted to drop off the call to a deposit.
I have a question. What do you see that can this have a business model?
Well, here's the thing, like people are going to do these mathematics, these arithmetics in their heads for sure. Because for example, at the moment, I am a liquidity provider in V2, and I'm on Aave ETH pair. So how do I decide, if I want to put it in V3 and where do I put it? And I think a lot of people have this preference that the reason why I put it there is because I like both ETH and Aave, and I do not want to exchange one for the other right now, because if I wanted, I could do it, right? So I'm kind of hoping that I will keep both and I will earn fees. And, to see which range I need to choose, I need a tool like this. So I think somebody is going to build this, and I think Uniswap in their Medium article, they already put some sliders and some GIFs, some videos where they show like if these things change. So I think, either they are going to build it or somebody else is going to build. The key thing here is, what do you use as your assumption for how the trades are going to look? And we think the back testing, the historical trades make sense to plug in there. And the other big question is, how do you assume what other people are going to do? And this is a really big question. I don't know how this gets assumed. So to answer your question, this is not easy thing to build, right? To build properly. Like we build it in a hackathon way, but to build properly, if you build it properly, you could monetize it. I'm pretty sure. You know why? Because, for example, now if you want to figure out how much you would earn as an LP in Uniswap V2, it's very hard. Like Google it. What's the APY for Uniswap pools? And there is no good source for it. And there is one source that tells you that you need to register and pay to see it. So I think you could probably do something like that here too.
We were actually talking about one thing, and that would be to be a protocol that helps you readjust your range. So that could be one way to actually monetize it.
I totally can see the title in 3 months, like Rearrange Wars.
Yeah.
And like, you know, who will win the rearrangement? Like people rearranging their portfolios each day or each like 15 minutes. And
exactly.
I can totally see this.
Yeah, this depends on gas prices, like so many variables there. One thing I wanted to mention is that I think is kind of unique to Uniswap V3 compared to all the other exchanges out there in other asset classes and everywhere. So I think for the first time we are going to have an indication of what the market thinks about future volatility, because you know. This is you are going to be able to see from the shape of the order book, and I actually thought the team number 3 was going to build this to show us how the order book looks, but yeah, so from the shape of the order book you're going to be able to see what the market thinks the price is going to do, because if the market thinks that the price is going to be stable, you're going to have a very, you know, very narrow distribution. But if the market thinks the price is going to move a lot, you're going to have a very wide thing. So this is like one thing that Uniswap is going to provide, and this is going to be useful for the range wars, right? Because you look at the order book, and if you see it's like this, then it affects how you rearrange your own position.
The only question is if you should listen to market.
Obviously, there will be some kind of analytics, and Uniswap will need to do it, like how many NFTs are in this range or something like that. I don't know how will they basically implement or how did they implement the crossing of all the NFTs in this range, how to say it. Am I correct when I said, do they calculate it real time? I think they calculate it real time, because they fee tokens they basically put on the side for this ticker. So everybody who had the range in this ticker will collect some amount of fees. It sounds so gas consuming for me, but they say that it's less gas consuming, so I guess could work. Okay. Is there any question for last team? Okay, guys. So I know that our jury has made the decision in this last part of the Q&A. So I will give a word to Petar, and Petar, please tell us what do you guys feel about it and what is your decision?
Thanks, Marisha. Thanks to everyone. First of all, congratulate to everyone, because I know it was pretty challenging to do anything based on so many risky assumptions and so many unknowns. So it's definitely something that at the end of the day you need to sacrifice the delivery itself. The delivery is always sacrificed on the hackathon, and you need to build something quick and dirty. But this time it wasn't only about building something quick and dirty. It was about making, you know, bunch of assumptions and bets based on the limited amount of information that you have. What I can say is that it was based on the notes. It was pretty close for the first place, and in the photo finish, the first team OrderBot took the winning prize. So congratulations, guys! Woo! Play some music, dance, let's go.
Dance, Ivan.
Oh. Okay, so basically the first team will get each member will get 10 unis, and for the rest of the teams, each member will get 5 unis.
it's a symbolic thing. So thank you, guys. We should basically, I think we should ping Hayden on that thread with our ideas. We can do it in different ways, but we can get free feedback from the founder of Uniswap, so why not get that? I suggest that each lead of the team poses some kind of smaller answer, like a couple of sentences about this. You don't have to. This is something I can do instead of somebody who doesn't want. So you can go smart, write me this, and I can post.
Yeah.
So I think this will be a good thing as a follow-up to see what Hayden has to say about it. If he doesn't say anything, we can post to Discord or something like that. So yeah, and we should continue on watching out. If we get some positive feedback, we can think about developing something for reals. We should also continue on basically following this deployment through. And we should come up with some next steps. This is immediate next step concerning the Twitter. So thank you once again. Is there any more questions or like comments or suggestions?
Well, I just want to make one comment. Going to today through the Uniswap, I not discovered, but again reminded myself that it's a complete other beast than what Uniswap version 2 was, at least version 3. So I guess we need a bit more time to actually dive deep into it. I mean, not the overall features. I guess we now understand what they are, how it behaves from user perspective, but from the implementation itself, I think we're still, or at least in my case, I'm still far off.
Okay, thank you. We should basically have some kind of code reading session. Oxen, you can take the lead or nominate somebody to basically have some kind of code reading session concerning the V3 version. One last info. Next week on Thursday, we will have also hackathon. This time we will do something different. We will basically try to imagine that McDonald's wants to be to enter the Web3 world concerning the financial stuff, not supply chain, and to see if there is any reason for them to be first mover. The answer of the hackathon can be no, there is no need for McDonald's to enter the market, or answer can be there is a possibility of them developing the wallet, having a token, and so it's a little bit different than having a Uniswap hackathon, but still one thing we can have is some kind of inside info, because we can ask them, hey guys, we need your info about number of transactions you're having on a global scale or something like that.
Will rewards be in cheeseburgers?
In in big Mac tokens. If we know.
Sounds good.
One idea I had is concerning the carbon credit. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because you can read up about McDonald's is like pretty large corporation. So basically they could consume a lot of carbon credits. Like they do a shitty job concerning the environment. So one funny thing is that if they go to and use blockchain, they will be judged by the community for being even more non-friendly to the environment. So
maybe that's what they want.
But something like tokenization of the carbon credits or something like that can be an interesting part of this hackathon. So this will be most probably my idea. So basically Web3 services
like DeFi, and how would McDonald's look like in that world? This is the topic of the next hackathon. Yeah. Okay, thank you guys. Talk soon and enjoy.
Goodbye, everybody.
Guys, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.